Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to learn how to do some concentration calculations. We're going to learn how to calculate molarity, molality, grams per milliliter, and parts per million. And we're going to start off with molarity. So the generic equation for solving any molarity problem is capital M, the big M is molarity, equals moles of solute divided by liters of solution. Alright, now we have in this problem a 10-gram sample of mercury. It's dissolved in 500 milliliters of solvent. Water is our solvent, to give us a solution that is 502 milliliters in volume. So in this case, we need the liters of solution, and we need to convert these grams into moles. So the first step is going to be converting those grams to moles. 10 grams of mercury, mercury is Hg, converted into moles will look something like this. For every 1 mole of mercury, on the periodic table, mercury's mass is 200 grams per mole, so there are 200 grams per mercury. When you divide 10 by 200, you get 0.05 moles. Okay, now this is going to be a really important number because we're going to use moles of solute for 2 of our concentration calculations. We're going to use it for molarity, we're also going to use it for molality, but we'll focus on molarity for the time being. So now we have our moles of solute. Our moles of solute for molarity, we're going to start it down here. Capital M is equal to 0.05 moles of solute divided by liters of solution. Now we're told that we have 502 milliliters of solution. So in order to convert between milliliters and liters, you know that there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So really what we have is 0.502 milliliters. So in order to find our molarity, all I do is divide 0.05 by 0.502, and I get that our molarity is 0.099 molar. Final answer. Alright, molality is very similar, and oftentimes they get confused. So it would behoove you to spend some time memorizing that molarity is moles of solute divided by liters of solution, and molality, lowercase m, is moles of solute, again, divided by kilograms of solvent. So we look back at our word problem and we see that we have grams of mercury, so we're going to have to convert that to moles, but luckily we already have. And the second thing we need is kilograms of solvent. We're given a volume of solvent. So it's important to remember with all of these problems, water is more than likely going to be our solvent at all times, and 1 milliliter is equal to 1 gram, only with H2O. Only with water is that the case. Alright, so only with water is 1 milliliter equal to 1 gram. And we know that there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So if we're trying to find kilograms, and we have 500 milliliters, which is the same as 500 grams, we know that that's actually just 0.500 kilograms. Our moles of solute are the same as our moles of solute were here, 0.05. So we have 0.05 moles. when you divide 0.05.
Hello, Switch. I'm looking for a cart. It looks like you only have 4 of them.
Which equals a 0.1 molal solution. You'll notice that your molarity and your molality are very similar numbers. Oftentimes they will be very similar. Very rarely will they be the same number. So a good way to check to see if your molality and molarity equations and answers make sense is if your numbers are close. Alright, the next thing we're going to calculate is grams per milliliter. Grams per milliliter is calculated by taking the grams of solute and dividing it by milliliters of solvent. Whoops. It's important to be able to spell solvent. Actually, it's not important to be able to solve it, but that's neither here nor there. So, grams of solvent. We have 10 grams of mercury for 500 milliliters of solvent. So that should equal 0.02 grams per milliliter. Alrighty, and last but not least, we have parts per million. The equation for parts per million is parts per million, there's the bell, is equal to grams of solute divided by grams of solute plus grams of solvent. So in this case we're going to need our grams of solute on top, which is 10 grams of mercury, and on the bottom we're going to need those same 10 grams plus our mass of solvent. 500 milliliters of water is the same as 500 grams, so we have 500 grams there, and when we divide 10 by 510 we get 0.0196. But remember, with parts per million, and I forgot to put this in, everything gets multiplied by a million. Sorry, that's multiplied by a million, not times 10 to the 6th, or not 2 10 to the 6th power. So, we're going to multiply this by a million, and we're going to get 19,600 parts per million. Final answer. Hopefully that helps. Good luck studying for the test on Friday.